there, hello and welcome to this little series of videos that I decided to make to explore my very unremarkable and obscure musical journey so far. I was just going to secondary school in Heathfield. It's September 1977, and it was that Christmas that I got my first guitar, that little classical guitar, and it was quite unexpected at the time. I don't remember putting out any vibes that I needed a guitar, but it was welcome nevertheless. Even though I'd shown no interest up to that point, I quickly embraced this idea though, and thought it was a good thing. And so, armed with a sheet of hastily scribbled down chords from my sister, I sort of set about working out how to play the thing. Luckily enough for me, that Christmas 1977, Paul McCartney was #1 with Mull of Kintyre. That was there for 7 weeks, I think, at that time. And so it was the perfect thing for me to learn, the first song that I ever learnt. And many years later, strangely enough, it was the first thing that I taught to, probably not strange at all, first thing that I taught to my youngest son, who was about 5 at the time, and he learned to play Mull of Kintyre. I remember Terry Wogan called it Mulligan's Tyres, if I remember rightly. Mull of Kintyre, oh, Miss strolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be here, oh, Mull of Kintyre. Far have I travelled, much have I seen, darkest of mountains, the valleys of green, past painted deserts, the sun sets on fire as he carries me back to the Mull of Kintyre. I remember trying to write songs almost from the very start of getting a guitar. It seemed like the thing to do at the time, and armed with my push-button cassette player. You remember those brick-shaped cassette players when you had buttons on the front, a little microphone. I remember with that and my guitar, I would try and capture those early attempts at writing songs. It was all very innocent, but crap, if I remember rightly. But you have to start somewhere, I guess. I remember one of the first songs I wrote was about my mother's weekly trips to Heathfield Market. She'd go to Heathfield Market and come back laden with antiques and collectibles and curios, which at the age of 12, I would have been 12, I probably thought it was a load of old tat. And I did write a song about it as well, and it went a little bit like this. It was called No More Junk. No more junk, no more junk, can't stand it any longer. No more junk, no more junk, no, 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 no more junk. Yeah, that's how it started. And my older sister's friends thought it was highly amusing because they got the wrong end of the stick. And just imagine this naive 12-year-old boy singing songs about heroin. But no, it was about old crap. And there we go. So I carried on bashing around with these ideas, playing my guitar, influenced strongly by the Beatles, Paul McCartney, old records by, like this, from James Taylor, and old records by Steeleye Span. So acoustic, folky stuff. And I discovered that I didn't want this little nylon string guitar anymore. I wanted to be better equipped. I wanted a steel string guitar. I thought that was the way to go. My second guitar was very cool. It was blue. I didn't know about makes of guitar in those days. I just wanted it because it was blue, and it was actually a Lorenzo. But that one didn't last long either. I think it broke fell apart, so I ended up with another one. Back then, it's been about 1980, there were very few very badly made cassettes of some of those really early attempts at writing songs, recorded on that little cassette player that I talked about. And I don't have any of those recordings anymore. But maybe somewhere out there somebody does, because I think there were a few that we sold to people, cassettes and printed booklets as well, I think we made. Here's, I've still got one of those. Mental Age of 3. Oh dear. And it was myself and a school friend called Nick King, and I'd forgotten all about this until I dug through all of this old stuff. And we called ourselves the Nervous Tick and gave ourselves nicknames. I think one of us was called Gammy Legs, according to this. And the other one, I don't know what the other one of us was called. It's probably in here somewhere. But we made a couple of cassette albums and put them out on what we called was Grim Tapes. We decided that was the name of our record label, Grim Tapes. And it doesn't say released on Grim Tapes here. It says realised on Grim Tapes, which is even funnier. Songs like Dandruff, Blue Greyness, Diabolic Steroids. We were sort of punk folk. Nick was punk and I was sort of folk. It was the merge of punk and folk, badly recorded. We even have a personal and problem page in this magazine. Shy male seeks shy young girl to be completely embarrassed about and ignore. And it was full of crazy drawings. And you can see it's very influenced by John Lennon's Spaniard in the Works kind of humour and drawings. And it was all a bit mad. Oh, here we are. Arthur Thrust and the Cadenzic Megalood Backing Band, plus Pimp LeConte. I don't remember who that was or who Arthur Thrust was, but we had these mad ideas. And my mum had an old typewriter, and I remember sitting bashing all of this stuff out on her old typewriter. But that's the sort of thing we were doing on that little tape recorder. And that song, in fact, although it's hard to tell from listening to that, but the whole night through, that song was probably the first thing that I wrote that seemed like a proper song to me. And that was in 1979. And years later, I wrote a country song called Rock and Roll Cowboy, which needed a girl to sing it, needed a female vocal on that one. And I had somebody called Lara who sort of had a lovely country singing voice, and she sang that, and whilst she was at it I asked if she'd have a go at this version of The Whole Night Through.
We were dancing to the old ones and the newest ones too. I must say I like the slow ones best, because that's when I get
So that song was about an imagined meeting of two youngsters at a dance, falling in love. I was 13 years old and would frequently go to the B.O. Bop, as they were called, at the local village hall in Broad Oak. B.O. for Broad Oak, you see. And I guess that probably played a part in that song. No doubt. It's very cheesy and it had a terrible line in it. We were dancing to the punk ones and the smoochy ones too. Oh dear. But I was 13, and as a song, I think it was the turning point of tunes. I think it's something that gave me a thought that maybe I could write better songs. And I shall give you a shot at it now, and you can have a good laugh at it. We were the only two people out on the floor. You asked me if I danced with you. I said there's nothing I'd like more. I said I loved you, girl, and I hoped you loved me too. And we ended up dancing the whole night through. fast ones and the slow. We were dancing to the punk ones and the smoochy ones too. I must say I like the slow ones best, because that's when I get so close to you. When the time came to leave, I said I've seen you again. She said of course now I'm not gonna stay away. We fixed another date for another night, and we walked home our separate ways. We were doing the fast ones and the slow. We were dancing to the old ones and the newest ones too. I must say I like the slow ones best, because that's when I get so close to you. Well, that's when I get so close to you. There we go, smoochy ones too. Well, that's it for starters, the first guitar. See you all again in episode 2, hopefully, when we look at my very first live public performance. Until then, see you next time.